getting to know self is a full-time job. Perfect example, when we observe the animal kingdom, we see how they nurture their young. They are mostly teaching about the skills to survive in the harsh conditions of our ecosystem. They are resting a lot, they are playing a lot, they are going on very dangerous journeys with their young. This is the animal kingdom, and this is how we observe. It's very clear they're not only learning skills and um, how we behave, they are also trying to remind what they are. If you're a little bear cub, if you're a little elephant, you are even a calf. If you have the opportunity, they will nurture them. They will remind them of their purpose, remind them of their responsibility. What is it really like to be a tiger? What is it really like to be a lion? These things are not just learning the skills to survive. It's also about remembering inherently what they know. When we transfer this kind of wisdom, uh, uh, somebody can say, here she goes again talking about the animals, but we spend a lot of time trying to be like animals. We got the tigers pictures, and we like to have animal print in our back. We like to have long nails like the claws from like a fox or animal. We go around behaving this way, um, but it is really important to learn these patterns and the behaviors and what we can learn to elevate our life. This is an example. One of the biggest lesson and eye-opening experience for me is, especially when you in your youth, when you know you have nothing, you don't have any resources, you don't have any authority or power to do anything. When the hurtful experiences happen to you, like harsh criticism, like critical judgment, like silent treatment, and you momentarily you are feeling pity for yourself, because you're when the external forces trying to mold you into something, but you have uh, start to develop your own personality, start seeking, start questioning, start behaving and experimenting things, and walking the land, this kind of thing. So this is the first glimpse into a real a mirror moment happen. You think, wow, I have really nothing, but why this hostility? I have really no one. When you learn these, you can feel this way even with the room full of people, very loving families, or things that is there available, but it's the feeling that you remember how you felt. This is the beginning of learning about yourself, because uh, then you realize they're really not after resources or anything that can get from you, but your energetic vessel. You have a connection to the divinity, you have a higher self, you have energetic vibrational frequencies. And when joy is hard to come by, is not promoted, is not easily happen, something always happen to bring us down, so we can operate from the extremely low vibrational feeling. You begin to really understand the spiritual warfare, the God, your connection to the higher source. These things are happening because it's awakening, a great awakening happening throughout your life, whether it's uh, far away remote places, whether here in North America, it doesn't really matter. The great awakening happens from the beginning of your life, because this is the natural growth, this is the progression of your soul maturity, because um, it doesn't really matter uh, the less how complicated, how difficult the lessons are, they need to happen. So this is how we become empowered and work towards a great awakening, and remember our purpose and why we are here. And you start asking these questions. For me, it happened very early on. I always ask difficult questions. Usually no one else did around me, because the school system, really, if you're into the academic proceedings, you really don't have time for this kind of stuff. For me, it was early on, I always want to have a purpose of what we are doing. How is it going to benefit myself? How is it going to add value to myself? But the skills, nevertheless, are not a complete waste. The programming of certain uh, subjects or something, it can benefit your life. We just have to stay awakened enough so we can use these tools to improve ourselves and our spiritual mind, body, spirit growth, and stay connected to the source, higher source, God, higher self. One of the things that I also learned in my teenage years, I like to learn about people more than lessons, because I like these organic, authentic connections with people, observing them, understanding them, try to have conversations with them. This was a passion of mine. It happened very early on. The people who came into the land for work, as such, you communicate with them, interact with them, you enjoy their kindness, compassion when they try to give you attention, especially a big place like I grew up, but not children around, just I'm the only young person at the time. You just have to go to neighbors to keep yourself entertained, which was limited time. So anyway, every opportunity I got is I want to learn about people. I observe, because I always prioritize how it makes me feel, or make me felt, and whether it's the happy, joyous things, or the kindness, compassion, or hostility, irritability from the adult. It doesn't really matter. These were experiences. This is how we navigate life, because we need to understand ourselves better. When you're a teenager, I always I had a lot of adult kids around that go to uni. Some of them stayed in my home at the time, but what I remember very clearly, how people change with the level of education, with the level of time in school, how much you get disconnected with fun things, and we're heavily involved with this programming, the economics. I've already read some books, and I'm noticing it's all about balancing, all about shuffling things, bringing this here from sort of a mismatch of things, but trying to make a sense and a balance. But I remember very clearly, wow, the death must be more entertaining than this. I could never be able to study this kind of thing. So it's ruled out. There's nothing in between. Wow, I will revisit this another time or anything like that. For me, I was like, either I completely disconnect from these things and make a judgment call without even digging in deep. This is a kind of personality that I had. Maybe I am still like that, but that was another example. But what I really want to speak about is essential workforce and the ruling control grid, the separation between essential workforce and the ruling control grid. This is, let's see where I'm going with this. Um, when I'm much older, I'm here in this different country. I know there is a level of commitment has to be done in order to make a um, reasonable living. So, but I sat around with these books from the college or the uni, or I try to rule out things. I read this repetitively, like 100 times, go over what I want to take, what I want to do. But it's never really, I could come to terms with any of the things I want to do. It's always, after a while, I just decide this thing, healthcare, and spend a little bit time in school for that. And this is the only thing I can come up with. I've always done like the what the teenagers do, working in a food place, working in some stores, working in maybe office for like 5 minutes. All I can think about is this is extremely toxic trauma body environment and interactions, but more than that, it was these fluorescent lights all over the the ceiling, and I felt like it's burning my skin. I immediately don't like it. I no amount of money could uh, value enough for me to pursue something like this. So just like that, I remember how it made me feel, how I felt at the time. So this is the kind of things you learn about yourself, and you're trying to have these interactions with the external social structure, how it's going to shape your life. Um, One of the feelings that I've always had is we pursue these school and programming because you want to be someone. We speak about this kind of stuff repetitively because you are not good enough. This is the impression you get. This is how you felt. This is the purpose you go to school. Um, just like the animal, back to animal kingdom, they never say that you're a lion cub, you have to be someone, therefore you're going to get programmed heavily, these different things, these different tools, and this is what we're working with. So it never really sat right with me, because education always supposed to be adding value to your life, never forgetting who you are and your purpose. We know we're mind, body, spirit vessel. We know energetic loopholes. We know energy containment, and we know we're thriving in the energetic ecosystem. This is impression. When it comes to the essential workforce, even us, we really like the idea of fancy title and going to office with the suitcase and sign some things and change things, shuffle things around while everybody's doing the heavy lifting. So it's like a good idea. We like the idea of that, but we have to unpack these separations from essential workforce. It never really sat right with me because we are so um, disconnected from what is the most important thing in life. We're behaving like we're too good to do things that is essential for our life, because we have these qualifications, we got these degrees, and the social structure also designed this way because, oh, you're a sanitation worker, you're early childhood worker, you're a social worker, you're attendant, you're flight attendant, you're, so we have these titles, um, sort of reminding you who you are. You are a worker, you're a farmer, you're a shopkeeper. Um, these job titles really doesn't have any fanciness to it, but yet these people are working every day, show up, and it's shown us so clearly last few years. We have essential workforce. Everybody else work from home. We really like to use our authority, our privileged position, our authority. We like to put them in their place. Even in our offices, my healthcare gig, I've noticed some of the, every time the different people comes, they change every other year, they change their job title to something. Maybe nothing happening with the prices, but titles changing. I'm like, what purpose? Is there anything else you can do with your time? Because they're sitting around the boardroom and coming up with these ideas while everybody else is doing the heavy load, working with sick people. So great awakening for us is recognizing these social structures, how they are designed to, it's a control grid, and we don't have anything about sisterhood. We don't know anything about unity consciousness. We are so separated. We are divided in every sector in our life. We need to understand this, how the kind of impact that has in our well-being and our forgetting our humanness, and we're going into a deep dive towards the dead end. Now, when we come up with some examples, if we can explain a little bit better, when I understand about control grid, external control grid, it seems so scary. Its authority is, you don't want to challenge anyone, but it's really not challenging. It's about recognizing yourself, how you felt about circumstances, what you, your level of understanding what's happening, because you want to improve your well-being. We all been in these circumstances where we think that we need external validation, we need to have people pleasing, we need to have a gratitude. All of things are true, but it's a phase. But when we stuck permanently in these circumstances, this is where we run into problem, because we haven't prioritized growth that is essential for mind, body, spirit vessel. When I think about the external control grid, we don't know whether there are few families that likes to do this. We really don't have any clear evidence. We have conspiracy theories that we're trying to figure things out. We think this is the problem, but certain level, I have a pity for these people. Just like when you were a child, you feel pity because someone challenged that you already so low, have nothing and no one, but someone upset you deeply. That childhood, you're thinking, wow, I feel pity for myself. Why is this keeps so happening? I'm already really low vibrational at the time, but others know that you have so much more than that, so they want to have that energetic drainage, poke a hole somewhere, because you're already low, you're already second guessing everything about your life. And perfect opportunity. So these people, this external control grid, imagine life, living life, the whole purpose is to consume, um, profit making and gaslighting, humiliating, controlling, manipulating. This is all they talk about. Their purpose of existence is to, people-centric control grid is to sucks the life out of you. So they are unhealed, toxic trauma bodies, and they have no way out without sucking the life out of the perfect life force. They can't exist. So this is the purpose. So you have a level of pity for these individuals, if there is such entities. But learning about yourself is learning about the external control grid, because we can prioritize how we utilize our energy, because we have a better understanding about ourselves, how it makes us feel, how it makes us lose our energy. So this is the kind of way that some of us are thinking. So the pendulum had gone into an outrageous distance, because a person like me now thinking this way, uh, just ordinary no one, nobody, but it doesn't matter. It's already spoken. It's already out there. It's how we think, because one of the uh, important things we can always notice, the external control grid, they're really invested getting to know humans. They like to scan your eyeballs and everything, and record everything, eyeballs, and they have a frequencies, they just jab things. It doesn't matter. This is how we really think. We aren't making mockery out of them, but we are feeling pity for these individuals, because they have no other way to survive without consuming us. But we have the power to prioritize our well-being. Now, when it comes to our healthcare, we like to put some technical equipments. Even in my house, I have them, but nobody's using it. Husband buys them expensive and wear it for like 2 weeks and don't use it anymore. I never use it myself, but why do we need these equipments? Oh, they tell you everything about your heart rate and everything. But don't you know your hypertension, you have inflammation, do you have joint problems, you're struggling with sleep, your evacuation, your evacuation system, bowels is not functioning well, or constipation, or difficulty breathing, vision problems. You have to have awareness about your mind, body, spirit vessel. You don't need to be confirmed by little piece of equipments. We don't know the radiation that go into our body either, because we don't really care, because we don't know how to feed ourselves, because we haven't learned that in school. But maybe we did, but it didn't make any difference. It didn't stand out. So if this is the case, if the education is supposed to help you to maintain your vessel perfectly, 10 years of that, we should be perfectly functioning mind, body, spirit vessel. And this is how you pay attention to information. Um, Another thing, when you go to school, when you complete something, there's anticipation. Well, you have to complete this, you got to get a master's and a PhD, and people have a level of anxiety when you're completing this. There's a little bit of lowball things happening there, because, oh well, yeah, you have this is great, but it's your responsibility. It's not necessarily going to give you employment. These kind of conversations are happening, but you have you have invested so much time and energy for these kind of programming. um, the most important thing is how we utilize this knowledge and wisdom to enhance ourselves better, how you feel, how the level of connection that you have for your higher self, your source, God. This is how we stay on top of things. And great awakening is also awakening to yourself. When we know our level of toxicity, how our behaviors hurt others, we are sort of taking a note. We're like, wow, that's pretty crummy thing to do. Maybe next time I'm going to do better. Next time I'm going to behave better. Because we understand collective consciousness. We understand about our development, our existence doesn't have to cause anyone any kind of discomfort. This is where we have to come to terms with, because whole system is there to exploit. We can exploit for labor. In a healthcare, we have to schedule to do like 5, 6, 8 hours a day to 15 hours availability. So there a level of anxiety happens there, and we all participate that profit making. We are squeezing the life out of people's energy, time and energy to make a profit. So we don't know what we're doing with it. We're doing all kinds of nuisance that's never add value to people's lives, but they are focusing on agendas. This is where we empower ourselves when we understand a simple economy. um, when you have to put out so much more than you gain, your perspectives have to change. uh, Perfect example, uh, when you have to gain like a dime or a nickel pay increase, they are already squeezing the life out of you. They're already sending out letters of this and trying to make you scared, try to get you more work and have your level of anxiety increase. There's just a sound of talk about salary increases. This is how the workforce behave. And same thing when your rent increases, your everything increase, all the bills and all the groceries, everything increases, but your salary is not increasing. So then you have a personal responsibility to protect yourself, because you have awareness, you awaken, you recognize the wake-up calls. Animal kingdom, again, they are so relying on their level of communication is the courtesy calls. They call each other every second. There is something to be concerned about. They make a sound and they try to get attention. But the humans, um, we are supposed to be the smartest intelligence. If we have a wake-up call when somebody is telling you something, I'm not like this, by the way. I pay attention to everything what everybody says and I make my own judgment. But wake-up call is like, hey, yeah, your credentials, let's see your words while listening to, oh, let's see how we're human beings. When we are concerned or caution about some areas we need to pay attention and concern about, uh, we are so easily dismiss these concerns because we are unawakened, we are disconnected, we're toxic trauma bodies. This is where this is how we lose so many friends, because you see something completely different. I understand people have their own journey, people have their own experiences to deal with, but extreme manipulation, gaslighting, and traumatizing scarcity happen parallel. So therefore the wake-up calls have to be um, stronger. So then we have to focus, we have to sort of continue to give out these wake-up calls. these areas that need to be concerned about, because just because people aren't willing to listen doesn't mean we can stop uh, being our humanness and learning the importance of awareness and trying to show someone. Mirror is the same thing. Mirror is not going to just pick and choose. It's going to show the reflection of what exactly we are. So this is how we maintain the integrity of our vessel. So it's great awakening is really awakening to our own areas that need to improve. We can, in a political landscape, we can hope and we wish that Mr. T is going to fix everything and bring heaven into this earth. Um, it's a good idea, it's a wishful thinking, but what have we done uh, during this time? We have done anything differently? Did our thinking shift in accordance with the new information, or do we even have the ability to shift focus with the new information? And how we not get victim to the financial issues, because we like to live in deficit. We need to address these concerns, and living in deficit mean you lose a lot of options right there, because without little bit saved up, without for a rainy day, you don't really have a lot of freedom. So then you have to minimize and much lower uh, your position, and completely be consumed by enslavement. And this is why it's really important to live responsibly. And clean energy means living to your means, living in harmony with energetic vibrational frequencies. Lately, I am thinking money is something that I understood. I didn't really deeply invest in anything, but I live very simple life all my life. Even when you have income, even if you have a few grand, if you can do things, go on vacation, but you chose not to because you know this emergency is going to happen. You know something, you have that hunch, something uh, extraordinary thing is going to happen. So therefore you practice caution in your life. Mind you, you spend a lot of time in your 20s, your youth, sleeping and working and sort of resting, which was really necessary to heal your ancestral trauma body, your inner child healing, you understanding yourself, getting the confidence, getting the boundaries, getting self-worth. All of these low vibrational things put things into perspective so we can move forward. But one thing that I really want to say at this point is employment. If something like what happened a few years ago didn't happen, we would still continue to prolong this pain body suffering, because we are never probably going to make a change, because you don't have that kind of confidence, you don't have that kind of awareness. You just continue to be and continue to do. But when a decision making has to happen, you stood up for yourself, you chose yourself, uh, not happily, but it was necessary. But because of that, you have so much more clarity now. You're thinking about employment, because clearly we don't have unlimited resources, we have very limited resources. But it doesn't really matter what will happen in the future, in a couple of years. We don't really know, but we can't worry about that, because we're busy living, we're busy trying to create, we're busy trying to heal and eliminate. So the money matters most likely. The a pendulum swing so far. I don't even know whether it's legal to say, but it seems like the existing systems is below your self-worth. It needs to maybe readjust, and because of our creativity, because of our healing, because of our liberation, we understand our self-worth so much more, and not willing to compromise your well-being for superficial printed piece of paper. It doesn't mean that you want someone micromanaging anything. Reassessment of balance, economic balance, integrity and fairness and transparency need to be present with the economic system. So we'll see what Mr. T is going to do, but you don't have that courage to lower yourself to something so toxic, something so corrupt, something so misuse anymore. So this is our stand. This is where the pendulum swing. So when it goes so far into distance, someone can say, wow, how dare she say that? What the hell is she on about? Money is current monetary system is lower than the self-worth. But it's something to think about. Think about how it make you feel. If you have to go get a job, you have to be desperate, you have to be begging, you have to lower your expectations, you have to lower everything. So maybe this is the time that we have everything out on the table. Maybe we can restore some sort of balance, because useless eaters that they are talking about, pity them, and they're making mockery out and have a hysterical laugh how unpractical these systems, how toxic these control grid is for a human species. Therefore they need to have an adjustment, restore, and not from a place where they're willing to overlook all the corruption, all the contamination, all the toxicity, all the manipulating and the scare tactics. If we have these agents are working overtime to promote such systems, we are awakened enough to address them, concern them, question them, and because we're paying attention, because existing a system for thousands of years, even extremely toxic for the human species at this point, and we recognize that, and something good will come out of people learning about self and how we connect it to the external control grid, and we can make best outcome. We need to have a heaven on earth, but maybe that's a little extreme. Maybe we have a sanctuary for the human vessel to thrive. This is what self-awareness is all about. I think hopefully it's helpful. It helping me to have clarity. So thank you.